Hi, and welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Back. And this segment, we're going to talk about Governor DeSantis. He introduced a new mandate, stop the woke mandate, he called it. And it's to stop the critical race theory in the schools, making it official. Can't sneak it in, can't slip it in, because of the damage that it's doing. It's gone overboard. Like, everybody is against racism. Most people are. But as we know, and we've talked about on the show before, that this critical race theory really makes kids feel like you are guilty, you are prejudiced, you are harming minority students. And he made it so that the State Board of Education is not allowed, they voted unanimously, and they will not allow critical race theory in the schools. It's official. So you can't sneak it in. And so let's see, we have a little video on that.
Parents' Bill of Rights. You can have certain things, and sometimes the school districts don't always follow it. And so we are going to be including in this legislation giving parents a private right of action to be able to enforce the prohibition on CRT, and they get to recover attorney's fees when they prevail, which is very important. And yes, there will be a fortified ability for the State Department of Education to hold people accountable, but honestly, the parents know best what's going on, and they're in the best position to be able to do it. And here's the thing, a lot of times these people will fear lawsuits more than a fine from the State Department of Education, because when you do a lawsuit, you get discovery, and you're subject to that. And when they say they're not doing CRT, and then you have all this information showing that they are doing it, it really is an uncomfortable position for them. So I think that gives parents the ability to go in and ensure that our state standards are being followed, and I think it's something that needs to be done.
Dude is a rock star.
I think the only way we're going to stop it is every state, every school district is going to have to do this. Otherwise, it's going to slip in.
During the special session, there were hearings up at the Capitol about this same issue, and there were a number of legislators that said, oh, that's not happening in North Dakota. We don't need to ban it in North Dakota. And then you had parent after parent after parent come up and say, but this is what's happening with my child's education, and this is what the teacher is teaching in this class, and it sure smells kind of funny. And so, you know, the discussion was had, and North Dakota is also one of them that is saying no thank you.
That's awesome. And it's kind of funny because a lot of these things came to light during COVID. So when you think about blessings and curses, you know, one of the blessings that came from COVID is a lot of parents woke up to see what their students were learning, what their children were learning, because they had to help them. It was all online. And so the parents stepped in a little bit more and found a lot of that stuff. Now, I know we had a guest on here, Dr. Aaron Lewis. He was from the East Coast, lovely man, African-American descent, and he is 100% against CRT. He said it is nothing but trouble. He said it is making, it's almost like making racism in a sense. It's like making it more prevalent. It's making it so people are starting to feel guilty for it. He said there's no reason for a white person to feel guilty because that's the skin they were born in. It's like, it's unbelievable. But we're going to have Dr. Aaron Lewis back on again and talk a little bit more about CRT and the harmful side effects.
Well, there's many people of minorities and that are black that are against CRT.
Amen.
Because it doesn't do them any favors, and they're telling young children, oh no, you're prejudiced, or oh no, you're a victim, and they're like, stop it.
You were born prejudiced. It's like,
just stop it. We were just fine. And if there is prejudice, the schools have always been against it for the most part. You know, that's something that more and more our culture is intolerant of it. But CRT is creating prejudice, and it's dangerous. And I think unless you turn it into law and you specifically say we are outlawing this, it's going to keep slipping back in. It seems like it's white liberals that are putting it in there.
It's usually far left women, far left white women that are leading the charge on all of these things. The Black Lives Matter, you know, a lot of these organizations are headed by very left-wing white women.
Well, like we spoke of the other day on the program, the women's movement has kind of been corrupted in and of itself. And that's falling back because the parents are the ones that are kind of letting the kids kind of have free reign in the schools. You know, when you think about you know, Governor DeSantis saying that we're going to put some teeth in this. We're going to make it a legal fine instead of a, you know, a kind of a Department of Education spank on the hands. I think he's on the right track.
It has to be that way, and to allow parents to be able to take it to court and challenge it, and if they win, because obviously we know that there's going to be people that are, you know, maybe bringing things to court uselessly, but if they really have a valid point, they can bring it to court, and then their court costs will be reimbursed. Otherwise, a lot of the regular people are feeling like, well, what can I do? You know, I can complain and they won't listen, because in reality, you've got two different opinions going on here, and no matter how many times the parents complain, then there's going to be people at the schools doing whatever they want anyway, unless you put teeth in it.
And it's taxpayer money. It's taxpayer funded. That's what, you know, education is taxpayer funded. And so we don't want the government to teach our kids, but they might say, well, hey, you know, it's our money. No, it's not. It's taxpayer money. And we've gone over that so many times on this show about everything, you know, whether it's a COVID reimbursement, it's taxpayer money. It's taxpayer money that is paying for all of this, and so we shouldn't have to pay for the education that it just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't.
Well, when you think about the Department of Education and any other government entity, they're supposed to work for us. So if they're supposed to work for us, we should have a voice in saying what it is that they're teaching our children and what we expect from them. And we should be able to get the answers that we're looking for.
Loudoun, Virginia has been a hotbed of controversy between the parents and the school board. And it's interesting because in Virginia, to a large degree, you know, that they elected a conservative governor and attorney general, and it's a black woman attorney general, and she speaks conservative values, and it was Joy Reid on, is she on CNN? I know she was, Joy Reid. She's an announcer on one of the mainstream media stations.
I didn't know there were any other stations.
I was
thought it was just Beck
I just
News.
know this
I was
one.
going to say mainstream media liberal stations, and then I realized that was
That's an
repetitive.
oxymoron.
Yeah. And so they said, though, well, she may have a black face, but she speaks with a white tongue. And
Isn't that crazy?
What? That is such a prejudiced,
You know,
terrible thing to say.
I have to interrupt because they say the same thing. I have a lot of really, really good friends down on the reservation. And if anyone tries to get or do better than themselves, they call them an apple, red on the outside, white on the inside. And you tell me that's not prejudice? Absolutely. And so it seems like some people are just trying to hold down some of those minorities, and that's what we need to start fighting against. It's people holding down. They're being held down by their own people, and that's what's so frustrating. But I hadn't heard that speak with a white tongue. Oh boy. Oh boy.
That's
One more
nasty.
thing.
Yeah, really. And they get away with it. Like, you can't say things like that. Why do they say these racist comments? And it's like they don't see it.
See, anyone can say anything except if white people say something, then we're the racist
Conservative.
automatically.
Well, because we started out that way, being born white.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
got to get that straight.
Well, it's not just that. You know, like conservative women are not credited with accomplishing anything.
Yes.
You know, because I think they're seen as, if you have traditional values, then you're holding people back. And, you know, getting back to Loudoun County, the parents were constantly portrayed as the enemy in mainstream media. And I was listening to public radio who said, oh, they just want to control all the sexual stuff. They're so uptight about it. And I thought, are you serious? Because I watched a video of the parents complaining about the books in the schools.
Oh, it was so awful.
Horrible pornographic books. You're talking about pedophilia being portrayed as normal. And this is what public radio was saying. The parents are just uptight about any kind of sexual expression. And so they were taken out of the schools. They were taken out of the schools, and then the local library put them out in their display case. And there was an uproar over that, and then they took them, so the library took them back, and they said, oh, we didn't mean to cause any controversy.
Yeah, right.
So you got some big fights going on and it boils down to values. So
Amen.
Enough about that, but I'd like to see more of that kind of mandate going on or laws
Yes.
where you can't just slip this into the schools when you're told no.